Welcome back to episode 136 of your favorite podcast, Prince and Barty. Welcome back, my dog.
Man, we here, man. Let's get it popping. There's so much to talk about. First thing that comes to my mind is we seeing all these torn ACLs in the National Football League. Torn ACLs. So we want to look at this from an athlete's perspective. I was looking some things up the other day, and it says it takes 6 to 12 months to heal from a torn ACL. We've seen Achilles injuries as well. Do you think that these injuries are going to be the same as it is for these NBA players with these torn Achilles injuries? Like, is Patrick Mahomes going to be the same? Is Michael Parsons going to be able to come off the edge? Or are they going to be the same? Who you think of Michael or Patty this injury would affect more?
Honestly, most quarterbacks could be less mobile and still be effective, especially with Patty's arm and accuracy. I think this is going to affect Micah most, man, because, getting around that edge, getting low, fighting, linemen, I think it might be a little more difficult for Micah, man. And it's funny. ACL injury is almost like damn near the same amount of time you said as Achilles. We just see Dame Lillard. He's dunking now. Jason Tatum dunking, participating in 5-on-5 drills. It's interesting, man. ACL is a funky injury. I think Patty will be fine. I think they got 3-4 more games left. He sits those out. I think he gets ahead of the recovery. So that might actually be in his benefit to just shut it down. You guys are eliminated from the playoffs. But Micah, man, Green Bay, that's a big loss for him. They're fighting for contentions. Losing Micah, you literally brought Micah in for times like this, and now you don't have him. So it's a tough break.
With the playoffs lingering right around the corner, who is Prince's favorite?
And I'm a Matt Stafford fan, man. I gotta go Rams, but listen, my heart is telling me Rams, but my mind is telling me Eagles. I think you guys are still a good team. You guys are well constructed. Even in y'all chaos, it's still some familiarity from just past experience with the Eagles. So you can never count the Eagles out, just from top to bottom. But something about Matt Stafford, man, he playing with a lot of confidence. We'll see what the Devontae Adams injury does to them. Puka was getting a lot of one-on-one coverage because of Devontae Adams. So we'll see what that looks like now. But I would say the Rams. And Matt Stafford, him and Josh Allen probably neck and neck for MVP. What you think on that?
I agree with that. Let me ask you this question. When I look at the AFC, it kind of reminds me of Return of the Jedi. We know who the Empire is. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we are looking for that new Jedi to take control of the galaxy. Which team of our contenders in the AFC?
Patriots. That's a great question. Both teams have great offensive coordinators. Obviously, Sean Payton, McDaniel too, with Brady all these years. Great minds, and I think you can have a great mind, but if you don't have the quarterback, it don't matter. We're in a position where Payton and Bo Nix are on the same page, and McDaniels and Mayer on the same page. It's tough, man, but I'm gonna have to give a slight edge to the Broncos. I might give the slight edge to the Broncos. What are you thinking?
I definitely love the Bills because they have experience. Yes, they don't have the record, but they have the experience. And that is the key. What they're doing with their team is crazy. The fact of the matter is I look at hero ball on the Buffalo Bills. They are a team that when you look at Josh Allen, he doesn't have a clear-cut number one. But you don't know who to guard. It could be Coleman, it could be Shakir, it could be Kincaid, it could be Knox. And then you have a decisive running game in James Cook. James Cook is probably a top 5 running back right now. Well, even more than top 5, top 3 running back this season. So I have to run with the Bills. I honestly think that the Bills are going to win the whole thing. I don't like how Philly is. I don't like how I think the Rams have issues at the wide receiver position. So if I had to choose, I would run with that team.
I can't argue with you, man. Josh Allen, I think, the Lamar talk, what was Lamar's advantage, right? So Lamar has never won, quote unquote, the big game, never been to the Super Bowl, but his advantage was those MVPs. Josh Allen gets another MVP. Now, I think that kind of pushes Lamar down because they'll take Josh over him now because he's played in bigger games and done better in bigger games, right? So the hierarchy's kind of shuffled around too, man, because we love Joe Burrow. Salute to Joe Burrow. He tried to fight back, but it ultimately wasn't enough. And, Joe is going home early again. Remember what I said, if Joe doesn't do something, he might be out of that top 5, in that top 10, possibly staring out. So as far as the AFC hierarchy, where do you look at the quarterbacks now, or just the quarterbacks in the league now? What's your top 5 quarterbacks at present moment? Even if Patty's injured, whoever, just who was your top 5 quarterback?
Josh Allen, number 1. Bo Nix, number 2. Drake May, number 3. Number 4, I'd probably go with Justin Herbert. And at 5, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I'm looking at the playoff teams. And when you look at the playoff teams, each team, they're vitalized by the quarterback. Denver, Bo Nix is not there. The offense isn't moving. Justin Herbert is still Justin Herbert. He's playing at a great level with a broken left hand. You look at Drake May. Drake May is young. He's up and coming, but he still beat Josh one time this year. And then Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you see the differences. We've learned this one thing. If you put a all-time quarterback with a all-time coach, you can get a winning organization. And that's what you have in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, their defense is not the same. It's not. But offensively, he's taking pieces. Yeah, he's taking Metcalf. He's taking Gainwell. He's taking Janu Smith. And he's merging them together, shaking them up, and making a meal in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh looks good. And then Josh Allen, man, is a mammoth of a quarterback. He is Air McNair with a gun like Patty. He's big, he's strong, he's that guy. And he's doing more with less. Milano is a shell of himself. Hoyer is a shell of himself. Kincaid is his best receiver, and he is still winning. Kincaid is, I wouldn't even say a poor man's Kelsey. He's like a poor man's maybe Shannon Sharp, because he's not as good as Kelsey. He's not as good as Tony Gonzalez, but he has the speed of a Shannon Sharp. And what they're doing in Buffalo is very, very interesting. I'm excited to see what goes on in Buffalo, New York. But let's stay in the NFL real quick. We see Myles Garrett is a sack away from the record. He's a sack away from the record. You're a Giants fan. Is there any correlation, Myles Garrett to Lawrence Taylor? Is there any correlation as far as them as on the defensive side of the ball? I mean, one plays the outside linebacker, the other plays the defensive end. But are there any correlation with the two players?
Yeah, I would just say it's definitely the fear. They top of the chart when it comes to game planning. You got to send double teams their way. They're gonna dominate both double teams. It's almost like an Aaron Donald thing where you could game plan for them, but you just got to hope for the best because they're so dominant. They're always gonna beat that first man. So you always got to have different schemes, shotgun sets, and just different trickery to get those guys off balance. But I think the main difference is, I would say, obviously, the Giants were playing for Super Bowls and meaningful football, historic organization, where I think that's what kind of Myles Garrett is gonna lack. He might be like I just thought of something. Myles Garrett might become the Karl Malone of football, where Karl Malone had the scoring record for forever and all those kind of things, but you played in Utah. If Karl Malone plays for the Knicks, they might say Karl Malone's the GOAT.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So I think markets matter. And it's like, think about it. Think about when you was kids, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, like the home run chase. It was excitement. Whether you watch a baseball or not, you running home kind of seeing what happened. I feel like when Myles Garrett's chase has been like, but you play for the Browns. Like, it's not, you just can't find yourself. Then you got the whole Shador kind of circus. So it's not really a singular focus on Myles Garrett watching him do it. He's a great guy and everybody's going to be happy for him because he's a solid dude, but he doesn't have the superstar fanfare. He's just a regular guy who goes do his job. LT was possibly doing coke, staying up till 8 a.m, coming, having 4 sacks. Like, LT is more like Dennis Rodman iconic, where they had off the field distractions, but they were still able to dominate between those lines. So that's what makes LT, Darryl Strawberry, Dennis Rodman, these iconic figures who just were troubled human beings. T.O., but they come to do their job and they're Hall of Famers.
Looking at the Seattle Seahawks, and we bigging up Purdy. We bigging up all these journeyman quarterbacks. But why doesn't Sam Darnold get the love he deserves? You look at Minnesota without Sam Darnold, Minnesota's not a playoff team. We're looking now, this will be the first season ever that Jealous does not get 1,000 yards. They don't have a 1,000-yard rusher. You know, you look at Sam Darnold, he comes in, and not only did he help JSN be the number one receiver in the league, they're 10-10, they're 11-3. They have a good gritty squad. They beat the Colts with Phillip Rivers, which of course Phillip Rivers is 44, but it was a good game. When is Sam Darnold going to get his respect? Yeah, I understand what people are going to say. Well, he needs a championship, but what can he do besides the championship, Prince, that you can at least put him in the top 10 echelon of quarterback?
That's a great question. I think you got to give Sam Darnold his just due. We saw what he was able to do in Minnesota, and you see what Minnesota's doing now. I mean, salute to McCarthy. He came on late. You could just see he's getting more comfortable now, but you can't deny what Sam Darnold led them to last year. He kind of wet the bed in the playoffs, but I don't put all that on him. But you look at this year, 3,400 yards, 6th in the league, 22 touchdowns. That's tied for 10th. 11 interceptions. That's tied for 28. 62.5 QBR. That's top 9 in the league. He's dominating. You know what I mean? He's earning that money. Some of your favorites not even in this category. Lamar's not even putting up these kind of numbers, right? Which is crazy to say. Like if we would have did a prop bet with Sam Darnold, we probably would have been sitting pretty right now. You got to take your hat off to him, man. You know, you can't say it was a fluke. Now he did it again. You know what I mean? So you got to respect Sam Darnold. And I think, you know, like I know, man, you know, we reference, what's my guy's name? Brad Johnson. You know, we reference those kind of Super Bowl champions. Just if they get in the dance, they could do something. You know, Trent Dilfer, a lot of these guys, man, you get there, you never know what can happen. And it's funny you said that about the Steelers, not to bounce all over the place, but I feel like that about the Steelers. You know, Aaron Rodgers mess around and get in, you can kind of take the backdoor route, and Aaron Rodgers being a Super Bowl just on the back door. But they defense plays all time. Think about it. You just got to play defense 3-4 times. Play really good D. We've seen the Chiefs do it with a basic defense, and they turn up in the playoffs. So, but yeah, Sam Darnold, he gets his. I think, you know, Sam Darnold's going into his Baker Mayfield era. Remember they slept on Baker and da-da-da. Baker had a good season. Oh, Baker's good. He had another season. They signed him again, and now Baker's not going anywhere. I think Sam Darnold now is not going anywhere. I think he's their quarterback for the future. He don't got to look over his shoulder no more, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you this question. This is a very good question that was crossed my mind when you were talking. There are 3 states in the United States that have multiple teams. It's Florida with Tampa, Miami, and Jacksonville. It's actually 4, excuse me. It's Dallas with Houston and not Dallas, Texas with Houston and Dallas. California with the LA Rams, the LA Chargers, and the San Francisco 49ers. Then you have the New York with the Buffalo Bills, the Jets, and the Giants. Now, you know me, you know what my answer is going to be. And then finally, you have Pennsylvania with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Which state has the best teams?
I already know you're gonna say Philly. You're gonna say Pennsylvania. Yeah, I mean, those are the most historic franchise. You're looking at it where the Rams haven't really, you know, if you're looking at kind of the franchise and the fabric of those teams, you would have to go Pennsylvania with everybody you name. Jets and Giants, Jets, nah. Giants had a run, but like you'd have to go with the Eagles and the Steelers. Legendary head coach with
I mean,
Tomlin.
when we look at Super Bowls, so right now, if we look at Super Bowls, for the Eagles, there's 2, in Pittsburgh, there's 6, so there's 8 in Pennsylvania. For California, you have 1 from the Rams, and you have 5 from the 49ers. Yeah, I think it's 5. It's 5 from the 49ers, so that's 6. For Texas, you only got the 5 from the Cowboys, you know? So, I mean, if you're going off of winners, and then, of course, Florida, okay, Dolphins 1, 2, and Tampa 1-1. So we're looking at 3 Super Bowls in Florida. So, I mean, if from the Super Bowl perspective, yeah, we're definitely right. But I think that California, though, is up and coming. When you look at the Chargers, when you look at the Rams, when you look at the 49ers, I mean, only reason why I asked that question, Prince, is because all three teams in Cali are going to the playoffs. Now, of course, both teams, it's a good chance that both teams in Pennsylvania will make the playoffs unless Pittsburgh just has a wipeout. But all 3 teams in Cali, the Rams, the Chargers, 49ers will all be in the playoffs. And that's crazy because the Niners, for them to be in the playoffs in a division with Seattle and the Rams. That's a crazy thing. I mean, it's an up and down. It's an up and down battle, man. It's definitely up and down battle. It's a lot going on, but shout out to California, man. I'm excited to see what those teams do because, like you said, the Rams, to the betting man, they're the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl.
No, for sure. Let's talk hoop, man. Obviously, the end season tournament, we're in the championships now with the Spurs versus the Knicks. Hasn't been a matchup like this since 1999. So a lot of people are excited, very nostalgic. That was a lockout year. You know what I mean? I'm watching the Spurs. I'm watching Harper. I'm watching Castle. I'm watching Vassell. They got so many pieces that match up so well with OKC. Gave OKC their second loss of the year. Wemby looked dominant, and he didn't even start. He just kind of came off the bench, played spot minutes because he's coming off of that injury. And I'm watching the game like this is the new rivalry. And then Shea confirmed it after in a press conference. When you look at these two young teams, man, in the future, and I look at Wemby different, right? I think Wemby's in a stage of game changer, meaning like we know your height. We know you could get these NBA 2K stats, but now he's becoming a difference maker of wins and losses, whether it's on the defensive end, whether it's a big three, big free throws. He affects the game in ways that nobody does. You know what I mean? Where we love Braun and Giannis, but hey, they might go 1 for 2 from that line, right? You know what I mean? As great as they are, Wemby's making both of those. Like his skill and concentration level down the stretch, big moments, pivotal moments, he's there. So what do you think about Wemby's growth and what the Spurs could be in the West for years to come?
Remember I forgot what year he came in, but Kevin Garnett, when he came in, we saw a freak of a player. It was nothing you could do. We saw him when he came out of high school from Chicago, and he was just a monster. I mean, he told us stories about how he went up against Scotty and shot it in Scotty's face. He went up against Michael. Michael had nothing but respect for him. He talked junk to Michael. I mean, this is who Kevin Garnett was. And when I look at Wemby, I think Wemby is at this point is greater than Garnett, And when you look at what he can do, I mean, the NBA, one thing Prince, we could just say this. We've watched historic athletes. I mean, I remember me and you used to watch Deion Sanders go catch a fly ball, catch a pick, and run a kickoff return. We watched Michael Jordan come fly with me. We watched LeBron from St. Mary, St. Vincent, be able to play football in high school, basketball in high school, and the chase down block. We watched Barry Sanders make smiley faces. Now we're watching an alien, a 7 alien that can dribble the ball, act like a guard, shoot the ball like a guard, post up like a big, and go up and down the floor. I mean, the Spurs are basically in contention to be probably the third greatest franchise in the history of basketball. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, the Beantown of the Celtics, and now you got the Spurs. If Wemby can get them back to their championship days, we will be looking at another dynasty added to that team. And there's nothing we can say, I mean, right now, I remember they asked him in the interview, he says the two best players in the league, he said Shea and he said Giannis, but he says, when I get back on the floor, it's going to be me. And is he lying? I mean, we just saw that no one could beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he just came in there and just said, listen, okay, I want to win me a NBA Cup. I mean, I don't think the Knicks have a shot. The only way that the Spurs can be dethroned in the whole NBA is, of course, if OKC gets on one of those runs defensively and offensively, or wherever Giannis goes. Whoever wins the Giannis sweepstakes, if he goes to LA, then guess what? LA can dethrone them with LeBron, Luka, and Giannis. Or if he goes to New York. And a lot of people are saying that they would prefer to get rid of Brunson and let Giannis go on there with Karl Anthony Towns. If you get Karl Anthony Towns and Giannis, I think that then we have an argument. But as far as it goes for the NBA Cup, salute, San Antonio is going to win. I would be shocked if the Knicks win the NBA Cup. Listen, quote me on it. I don't think the Knicks have a shot. My percentage of them winning that game is 6%. And if they win with 6%, we just got to give Brunson his flowers because he is a beast. He's a herky-jerky player. He's a beast. But with Wemby, with Vassell, with Castle, with Champagne, whatever that guy's name is, they're just too deep, too long. And Wemby makes them better. Makes them better.
Nah, I agree, man. It's gonna be tough because they have what makes them. They, like I said, they could guard 1 through 5. They got so much talented defenders with length, strength. So it's OG, Mikal. They could do some things too. But we named all those people and didn't even mention De'Aaron Fox, the guy who averages 30. It's like it's insane because you press up on Fox, you can't leave Wemby, you're not leaving Castle, you're not leaving Harper. They got a real death lineup with those guys, a real Warriors old school death lineup that, when they say cancel Christmas, once they get going, I think I think they still win it this year just off of just experience. I think Chet taking that next step makes them pretty much impossible to beat almost because Chet is a Wemby as well. He's just not like Wemby, but he's a Wemby in itself where he creates matchup nightmares for people, man. But I want to talk to you about something. Let's go back to football for 1 second, man. You see the nonsense about Shador and he had the wrong plays on his wristband. Is that what's your thoughts on that? And the Shador circus, man, he threw 3 picks last game, I believe. So what are we looking at, man? Everybody got what they wanted. They saw Shador play. Now, if the Browns are like, hey, man, we want to move on, you almost can't say nothing now. We've seen you play, and now we want to get another quarterback in the draft. What's your thoughts on the Browns, the wristband, all that bullshit?
It's not a Shador problem. That's a Browns issue. That offense is in disarray. I mean, let's really call a spade, Prince. There was a guy. They used to call him the chef. They used to call him the bakery. And he went to Tampa and he resurrected his career. But when he was in Cleveland, we thought that he wasn't ready for the NFL. There's also a guy that went there that everybody loved in Johnny Manziel. And Cleveland is a graveyard. If any quarterback goes there, it's a graveyard. It's a place where quarterbacks go to die. It is literally the home of the Undertaker. Yes, Cleveland has won an NBA championship, but and they won a Super Bowl, well, and an NFL championship with Jim Brown. But when you look at that team, you can't put it all on you can't put it all on Dylan Gabriel. You can't put it all on Joe Flacco. You can't put it all on any quarterback that was there, Deshaun Watson. It is a Stefanski problem. It is a GM problem. It is a organizational problem. They are in disarray, and they need to chop all the heads off. Everybody's head just needs to be cut off. I mean, listen, in the words of the Highlander, there can be only one. Chop all the heads off and bring somebody in who knows what because it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. The team is in disarray, and we want to blame Shador when we actually started watching Browns games because of Shador. And then they went up against a team that literally, when you look at the situation, we said the same thing for Caleb Williams in Chicago last year. And what happened? They changed the whole organization. Ben Johnson became the coach. So we need to figure out a way to change the orthodox of that team. That team, we have to upset the anarchy. We have to change everything in the team, bring in the right coaches, bring in the right system for Shador, and it will work. I mean, I'm lobbying, and I know he don't want me to say it, but hey, I'm lobbying for his pops. Hey, Dion, go to the NFL, coach your son. You get to coach another generation of talent on defense like yourself and win a championship, or at least make the Browns a playoff team.
Agree, man. Let's go back to hoop, man. Go through some hoop talk. Cooper Flagg, 42 points the other night. 42 points for Cooper Flagg, the youngest player to drop 40 ever. Braun didn't do it. Kobe didn't do it. T-Mac didn't do it. It's wild seeing Cooper Flagg play. I commented on, I think, ESPN's post. I was just like, he reminds me of Braun and Blake Griffin together. You remember how fast Braun was? Blake, he still got the big man, but he got a grown man body. He's in there. And I think as the season's going on, he realizing like, oh, this is not what I thought. You watching these guys your whole life on TV, you probably thinking it's one way. And like I know, you brought up Kevin Garnett. If you're bigger, faster, stronger, you're going to survive. What was LeBron? Bigger, faster, stronger. Then the nuance of the game comes after that. The skill set comes after that. When you got those qualities, you could be the hustle man. You could be in the dunker spot. You could just Listen, a coach told me, he said, listen, bro, if you just run the floor and cut, you average 15 off of that. Beat your man down the floor, do all the things. What do you think about Cooper Flagg and what he could really be?
I mean, we've already had this discussion so many times because we've been covering Cooper since high school. But I think that the best thing for this story, I think the best thing that could have happened was Megan Thee Stallion getting Clay off his game. I think the best thing that could have happened is that Kyrie's hurt. I think the best thing that could happen was AD's hurt because now we have to depend on Cooper. Who else is there on Dallas for you to depend on? So now if Cooper realizes I got the keys, I'm driving the car. We're going to go 100 miles per hour on the Lambo, and we're going to get to our destination. And Cooper has to continue to do these type of outputs. If he does these type of outputs, then we'll have our best American Caucasian player to come in the league after Larry Joe Bird. But I mean, when we look at the situation, he hasn't been able to do that because we've been talking about Anthony Davis, which now they're talking about trading. We're waiting on Kyrie, and Kyrie's hurt. Klay Thompson is not the same Klay, and it's not all on the Megan Thee Stallion situation, but it's more along the lines of Klay is just not that same player anymore. So when you look at Dallas, it is Cooper Flagg's team. It's Cooper Flagg's team. Give him the keys. Forget about Kyrie Irving. If I was them, I would trade everybody away except for, and the only reason why I say except for Klay, keep Klay close to his lady, man. I mean, he looked like he happy. So I'm just being sentimental for Klay Thompson because, I mean, I don't like the way that he was done by the Golden State Warriors. So you still would need a spot-up shooter around Cooper Flagg, but I would trade Kyrie. I would trade Anthony Davis. I would keep those athletic bigs around him, let him be able to at least throw some lobs up. I mean, he's not necessarily Luka Doncic, but having Gafford and Lively, even though Lively's gone for the season, it should be interesting. But even on that story, man, what makes me happy, in one of my fantasy leagues, I got Cooper Flagg anyway, so I had like 140 points last night.
Are you good? But I saw some before we got on. Jalen Brown, he's been doing a lot of streaming lately, and he was saying that Anthony Edwards is a hell of a player, a great player, and he said he could possibly be the greatest player to come out of Georgia. Obviously, Anthony Edwards from Georgia, Jalen Brown's from Georgia, but Dwight Howard is from Georgia. Do you think if Anthony Edwards in his prime, like whatever you think his peak could be, Jalen Brown, whatever his peak could be, can any of them be better than Dwight Howard, in your opinion?
There's potential, but when we look at Dwight Howard and who he was and how he changed the position, I was happy for him that he was able to win that championship in the bubble. You can say whatever you want. It's a bubble chip. A championship is a championship. We don't go back and talk about the Spurs winning 50-game season. Listen, a championship is a championship. He's a champion. He's won a championship. He has all those defensive player of the years. He's a great rebounder. Would I say he's a top 10 center of all time? No. He's outside the top 10, but he's a Hall of Famer. For right now, I don't see anyone being greater than Dwight Howard, but if Ant can just reel in a championship and a couple scoring titles, then we have an argument. But for right now, it's premature. It's premature. It's premature. And I even say that for Jalen Brown. I know why Jalen Brown is saying that, but it's premature.
I thought so too, man. But real quick before we wrap up, man, I got a chance to go to the Orange Bowl Classic, man. I saw UMass versus Florida State, man. Florida played George Washington. It was dope. Salute to the Orange Bowl and the media, our team. They showed us a lot of love. But it was dope to see college basketball up close again, man. I haven't been to a college basketball game, shit, probably since I played. So I think we really got to get back out to these games, man. These kids are athletic. Some standouts, this dude Sanford, he won the MVP. He had like a double-double, 24 and 10. I got a chance to interview him. Go to the Prince and Barty page, and you'll see it. But it was dope being in that college atmosphere, man. So salute to Frank Mason, the coach. I interviewed the Florida State coach, Lou Locke, I believe his name is now. It was a dope experience, bro.
Definitely. Everything looked beautiful. Stadium, the court, the Jumbotron, everything just looked like it was official. Shout out to Florida State, of course. It's going to be interesting to see what other events the Orange Bowl has coming. Shout out to the Orange Bowl organization and what they got going on. And you already know what it is, man. Greatest sports show in the world. You know what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 136. See y'all next time. Subscribe to that YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, IG, anywhere you can find us. There's Prince and Barty. We are there. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. See y'all on 137. We out.